Hello, today I'm going to be doing some maintenance on the tractor that you see behind me. I've had it now for about 5 years, and even though I've had to replace some things that were broken and do some repairs, I've not done any service to it. I've not really gotten the hours up on it enough that it would hit the service period, but I need to just go ahead and replace some filters and replace some oil. And today I'm going to replace the fuel filter and get it to where I can go ahead and be ready to cut hay this summer and do some bush hogging that needs to get done. And this is just the sort of the pre-season warm-up. And so today I'm going to walk through changing a fuel filter. In my situation, I've got this front end loader that's attached to the front of the tractor, and I don't want to take that off. I feel like it'd be more trouble than it's worth to try to take that off to replace some of these filters, so I'm just going to try to work around it. The first thing I did was to raise up the hood so that I could see under the hood and see where I needed to work. This is the filter that I have on this 5065E. A couple of important parts. This is a bleed valve that allows air to leak out after you've opened the system, and this is a pump here that you use to help pump the air out. And then in the background you can see this red switch here, or the red knob, is a shut-off valve to keep fuel from coming in to the filter while you're taking it apart. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unscrew this bottom portion here, and inside there's a filter, and the filter will be replaced. This portion will be put back on. Then we'll open this valve and use this pump to blow air that's in the line out the valve, and then we'll close the valve and be able to crank the tractor again.
This part of the process was very frustrating for me. I was trying to remove the fuel filter, but I was using a filter wrench that was not appropriate for the fuel filter. The filter wrench had a strap that was too big and would not properly fit around the fuel filter. So I ended up having to just more or less give up on the process for that day, and went to a local O'Reilly's Auto Parts and purchased a different type of filter wrench, one that I'll show you later in the video, and it did a much better job of being able to remove the fuel filter than what I'd had previously. I would suggest that if you are looking to purchase a filter wrench for this, that you get one with a fairly small strap. The bigger the strap, the harder it will be to have the wrench effectively work on the fuel filter.
This is the fuel filter that came with the tractor, and you can see painted John Deere green. Otherwise it matches up with the filter that we looked at earlier. And the only sort of difference here is that, and one of the important parts that I did not point out earlier in the video, is this this ring here. This ring around the top is what actually holds the filter on, and that's what you have to loosen to be able to exchange the parts. And don't know if you can see down in there very well or not, but you can see maybe some fuel still down in the filter. But that ring is actually what you have to have broken loose to be able to remove the filter, and I was not aware of that in the beginning. I'll show you at the end what I ended up having to do as far as my filter wrench, but you cannot, when you're trying to take this apart, you cannot attach to that and try to loosen the filter. You have to be able to loosen that. And initially the wrench that I was using just would not stick around this, would not attach itself around that ring very well. I had to go get a different style of wrench. When I did, what took me 45 minutes a few days ago to try to accomplish took about 2 minutes today. So it's all about having the right equipment. So now I'm going to just remove our filter here, and just going to remove the filter here and replace it, and then reattach to the tractor. What we're going to do is just take this ring here that spins, and we're just going to slide it down the body of the filter so that the old filter comes out, and then all we have to do is take the new filter and slide it back down into the ring, and now we're ready to reattach it to the tractor. A couple of things that are important here. One is we've got a couple of these little square structures here that affect how you pass the filter back up into the receiver, and a big structure here, there's actually a groove on the inside of the receiver that accepts that out processing to allow it to slide more easily into like the receiver. So if you are not paying attention, if you just try to slide this back into position, then it's not going to fit. You have to make sure and align that with the receiver. Now the ring is in place, the filter is in place. The next step is going to be to take this red knob, open it up, make sure fuel will flow through without leaking out. Then I'm going to loosen this screw and use the pump here to try to make sure that there's no air in the line, and then we'll try to crank the tractor and make sure that it's ready to go. So with that valve open, now I'm just looking to see, make sure I'm not going to see any dripping. And I don't. So my next step is going to be to turn on or loosen the screw there. Don't have to open it very wide, just enough to be able to tell if there's air leaking through. This is a tedious process because it's a very small pump. At this point, I'm going to try to crank the tractor and just see if perchance I got enough fuel through the line already to get it started, and then hopefully the tractor will go ahead and pull that fuel through for me.
My initial attempt to crank the tractor was not successful, so I got down and opened the valve again and used the pump several more times to try and get some more air out of the line, and then ended up crawling back into the tractor and trying to crank again. Just as a list of tools that I used in this video, of course we had the fuel filter from John Deere. In the process of trying to get this fuel filter off, I used several different things. I started off using this oil filter wrench that has this strap associated with it and attaches to a ratchet. I really never could get that to work properly. I couldn't get purchase around that ring with that strap. I tried this metal wrench. Again, I couldn't get purchase, and the length of the handle hurt me because it was just so long that I couldn't work with it in the space that I was given. In the end, what really did the job for me was this rubber strap wrench, and the strap itself was narrow enough to fit around just the ring that I needed to loosen, and could get purchase there, and the handle was short enough to work in the space. The only other piece of equipment that I ended up needing was this flathead screwdriver, and so the initial part of the process took a while just because I didn't have the proper equipment. Once I got this and was able to loosen that ring, everything went much smoother. And if you include only the time when I had the proper equipment, you're probably looking at less than an hour to change the filter, including the pumping the diesel fuel through the new filter. So fairly basic service protocol here, and something that most folks should be able to do at home without aid of a mechanic, as long as you're willing to buy the right equipment and spend a little bit of time and get your knees dirty. But I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you did, I'd appreciate any likes and new subscribers that I could get, and hope to see y'all again soon. Thanks.